Congratulations on the show.
Oh, thank you so much.
Obviously, as a Brit, I knew kind of this pandemic, shall we say, this serious issue that was going on, but the show has opened my eyes as to just how incredibly vast it was and how many people were affected by it. How have you set about going about kind of bringing it into the world, into like, bringing it to Britain, bringing it to the world, to know just how vast it was and how scary it was for a lot of people?
Well, it was, once you start reading about it, it's pretty stunning, the facts of what happened, the wide swath of the victims, and the devastation that it's wrought, and the fact that all this devastation came from one pharma company that was micromanaged by one family, and not even that many members of the family, maybe 8, 9 members actively worked at the company. Actually, it's probably more like 4 or 5 actively worked at the company, who made billions off of a brazen, deceptive lie that the drug was less addictive than other opioids, when in fact it was just as addictive. And in fact, more addictive in some ways because it was pure oxycodone. So other drugs are cut with aspirin or Tylenol and have a much smaller amount of oxycodone in it. But Oxycontin is pure oxycodone. It's basically heroin in a pill. And so to say that that's less addictive or less than 1% get addictive or practically non-addictive is so stunningly dishonest. It boggles your mind that they were able to get away with these claims for so long.
And I read that you kind of pitched the idea a few years ago, and it was maybe going to be a film, and then obviously you thought maybe it was going to be a limited series. Are you glad you took that decision? Because I guess in a movie you would only have so much time and would have to focus on one person rather than the community at large, as it were.
Yeah, exactly. It was pitched to me to do as a film, but once I started researching it and realized how extensive Purdue Pharma's criminal behavior was, and how I wanted to not just show them, but show their victims and show the investigators that came after them, I quickly realized that a film wouldn't be long enough to encompass what I was hoping to achieve. So that's when I switched it to a limited series. And then John Goldwyn, the producer that brought it to me, I told him I think it's a limited series, and his response was, "Great, let's do that."
And I mean, you've got lots of, I can imagine there was so many you spoke to so many people, and there's so many people affected by this, that it was impossible to kind of showcase everybody's story. But you made the decision to like have real people mixed with fictional people, but to then be able to use those fictional people to tell many people's stories. Did that help you tell the story, even if it was a limited series, to do that, to make sure you represented as many people as you possibly could?
Yeah, you basically said it better than I could. That was exactly the goal, was to represent as many people as I could. That these characters, I decided, the victims of Purdue Pharma, I was going to make them archetypes instead of using actual people. And then by making them archetypes, I could get even more stories in to their journeys. And there were so many stories that overlapped and had a similar arc to them. And that's why I thought by using composite characters, there could be almost a more universal truth that I could achieve than if it was just one person's story.
Yeah, and I mean, have you been happy with the timing of the show? Obviously, I know we've come out of a very different pandemic recently, but in terms of the timings and the years in between, you know, some of these things, movies get made 15, 20 years later. It's still kind of happening in some respects. So are you glad that that's kind of happened for you, that you've been able to put it out now?
Yeah, I mean, look, I wish it never would have happened, so that I never could have made a story at all about this subject. But the fact that we did make it, and that the story stayed in the news through the entire process of writing it, it never went away. And there were, new books coming out, new information coming out all through the process. And 3 weeks before we aired in the United States, there was a huge bankruptcy settlement with the Sackler family. So it was once again a major news story. So yeah, the timing has been pretty fortunate, as far as, we were never asked, how is this story relevant?
And I mean, you've got a fantastic cast, and that obviously helps you to tell the story and to get people, interested in the show. You must be delighted with the kind of the caliber of people that not just wanted to come on board, but wanted to help you tell this story and to get it out into the public.
Yeah, Dreamcast, literally the best of the best actors, every one of them so gifted, so great for the role. I'm so excited for people to see these performances because they're just incredible. And then I had this extra bonus that I didn't even know was going to happen. which is they're all some of the nicest people I've ever dealt with. They're all just lovely. And it's weird to say that because it sounds fake, right? How could they all be so nice? But in fact, they were. They're all of them. I would be friends with all of them. I would, I'm sure none of them want to be friends with me, but I understand that. That's fair. But it was just a matter of, wow, these are just incredible people, one after the next.
I would be very disappointed if we'd had this discussion and you'd have told me that Batman was not very nice. That would
I would have been disappointed
so
too. I think he's the most down to earth superstar I've ever met.
Yeah,
so cool. And his persona is like he's a regular guy, and the reason why his persona is that is because that's who he is. He's just real. He's just like a really normal guy who happens to be really funny and one of the most talented actors alive.
I know, just as a final question, you've obviously been able to bring it to, you're not just going to be on Disney Plus on Star, but also you've been able to bring it to the London Film Festival, which is unique in itself. How happy are you that audiences are going to kind of see it and you're going to generate some buzz in Britain, where, as I say, because of me and many other people, we don't know quite as much as maybe we ought to know?
Well, I thought that even though it's an American event, that it could be a really dynamic story worldwide because it's a crime story, and it's about a criminal pharma company, and I think by also for people around the world to look at the United States and how corrupt and incestuous with the U.S. government the medical community and pharmaceutical companies could be. It could be a cautionary tale to the rest of the world. I also, when I first started writing it, Purdue Pharma had been pretty well exposed for what they did with Oxycontin in the United States, and Oxycontin prescribing had already started to wane because of it. However, Purdue was using these deceptive techniques all over the world, and so I viewed the show when I first started as a warning to the rest of the world that Purdue Pharma and the Sackler family are coming to addict you. And they're coming to poison you with their highly addictive drug that they're going to tell you is non-addictive. So I thought that was, something that the show could possibly do. And I think it can still do, because I have no doubt that their deceptive techniques will be used, particularly in countries that might be more susceptible to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, lovely to talk to you, Danny. Thanks so much for your time, and good luck with the show. I hope it all goes well for you.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Take care. Take care.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey You Guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yes.
Nice.
Hey You